When we're not flying, we go out and help them with this, and when you hold your arms out like that, they get pretty tired. I'm still waiting for these guys to figure out I just found this shirt in the hangar, but he keeps launching us.
Can't put it.
How's everybody after the takeoff?
Perfect.
Are we all still here?
Good.
Oh, good. Hate when I lose one.
Really do not know how this works.
So we're going to be over the trees here for about the first 10 minutes of our flight. The reason for that is just these are very specific routes we've got out here because of all the helicopter traffic. But the forest we're over is the Kaibab National Forest. It's the largest forest of ponderosa pines in the U.S. These trees below us, they average anywhere between 90 and 150 feet tall.
Cool. Very cool.
There's over 2,000 species of animals out in this forest. There's deer, elk, black bear, mountain lions, Bigfoot.
What?
On our way out here, you're going to see a lot of spots with some burned trees. In the fall time, we have a pretty crazy monsoon season, and the lightning will come down, hit the trees and light them on fire and start these forest fires. Lucky for us, we're out in the middle. We're right on the edge of the national forest and the national park, so there's an army of firefighters out here to take care of it for us.
Talking to the mic.
What was that? You gotta put your microphone really close.
Yeah, put next to you. Like this?
Yep, I can hear you
Okay,
now.
Perfect. Okay.
It's a little bit of an outside voice too.
Okay, I got it. Got it.
You're nailing it.
What? Said you're nailing it.
Oh. Okay.
Right now we're going about 100 knots, which is close to 120 miles per hour. Then we'll slow it down over the canyon a little bit so we can take our time and see a little more.
It's like a sea of trees.
Off to the left, you can kind of see the north rim of the canyon starting to come into view.
Yeah. I don't really see it.
Ben, you left over here.
So this helicopter today, for your pilot friends when they ask, is a Eurocopter EC-130. After all the video equipment and the changes they make when we buy these, they're about $3 million. But you can see they're pretty much built for tours. They've got the windows that go all the way down to the floor.
That's really good. That's really like
A lot of dope. And put your microphone.
fun, really epically. Oh, I think I see the canyon.
Yep, that's the canyon off to our left. We've got about 2 more minutes over the trees. We're going to be dropping into the canyon on that second peak sticking out. That is called Papago Point.
Wait, Papago Point?
Papago Point.
Got it.
Which way do you turn to make the volume go up?
I think forward. And there's one on both ears, so you can have it so you can change it on both ears too.
Abby, no, it doesn't work. Got
I
it?
just figured that out.
This is like a sea of trees.
There's a lot of them. Once you see about 400 or 500 of these, they kind of start to look the same.
Sort of the case now.
And pull your mic close.
It close to my mouth.
Like that, yes.
There's a set of power lines up in front of us. This is the border between the national park and the national forest. So as soon as we cross these power lines, we'll be in the national park. This road up here in front of us, this is Highway 64. This is what brings you up to our office. So we've all been on this road.
Just like
Okay, welcome to the Grand Canyon.
that is the most beautiful sight I've ever seen.
Out here in front of us, that is the Colorado River. Most geologists believe that's what created the Grand Canyon through about 7 million years of erosion.
That's what I learned in social studies when I was in 4th grade. The Colorado River.
You learned it created the canyon?
Yeah.
Grandpa, now you can try and find mules.
Off to our right, you can see that little tower. That's the Desert View Watchtower. You can actually go over there and climb up into the tower and look off the rim. But you're not going to get a better view than we're getting from here.
Probably the best I will get.
These rapids in front of us, those are the Uncar Rapids. They don't look too impressive from here, but if you were down there, they are 8 or 9 feet tall. That would get your attention if you were on one of those rafts. Up here in front of us, this point is called Ochoa Point.
Oh, point?
Ochoa.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. The river from here almost looks little enough you could jump over it, but we're over a mile above the river right now. It's 300 feet wide in that area.
Yeah, the river looks long, very long.
Yeah, it is. It actually starts up in Montana. Goes all the way to Mexico.
Holy cow. There's a lot of water.
It's a lot of water. This next point up in front of us, it looks like almost like a cruise ship. It's pointy on the front and it goes back, looks like it has a little fin. That is Temple Butte. And just to the left of it, that tall butte is Chuar Butte. These big cliffs off to our right, those are the Palisades of the desert. They are about 4,000 feet tall, and they're the only vertical drop in the canyon. If you stacked 4 Empire State Buildings up on top of each other, it would be just barely taller than these cliffs.
Really high.
They're big, for sure. Up in front of us is the confluence of the Big Colorado and the Little Colorado. You can see that turquoise water going into the river. That's the Little Colorado. Actually pretty fortunate we're gonna see it. It's prettiest on that turquoise, nice color. This point here is Cape Solitude. You can go out here and look off the edge of the rim at the confluence. This up here is the Little Colorado Gorge. I don't know how many of you guys followed this, but a guy actually tight-roped it a couple years ago, or last year. It was last year. It was about 40-mile-per-hour winds that day, and he got across. I think I'm just gonna stick to flying over it though.
Much safer.
I think so. Even he didn't seem like he was having a lot of fun while he was doing it. Off to our left, that's the Little Colorado. It's that pretty turquoise color right now. One of the prettiest parts of the canyon, I think. The reason it has that nice turquoise color is it mixes with some different minerals as it travels through the Little Colorado Gorge. And one of them is calcium carbonate. And it changes the river to that nice,
Look off into
nice
the
color.
distance over there. Yeah, you could see,
Yep.
it's like green and whatever color desert is. Blend of it. It's like a blend of it. It looks so beautiful.
Very nice
Just to look at it. Just to look at it. I shouldn't.
This is going to be our best look at the confluence here, just
Wow.
off to our left. Out here in front of us is the Navajo Nation. That's the largest Indian reservation in the United States. All these roads that you can see out there are accessible that drive all the way out onto the rim there. You've just got to get permission from the Navajo to go out there. This right here is 60 Mile Canyon, and just at the opening of the canyon there's the 60 Mile Rapids. This is 60 miles from Lee's Ferry, where they put in at their rafting trips. Those rafting trips usually last anywhere between 7 and 28 days. So they get a good distance of rafting in. They do a half-day trip. I just found out yesterday. A group I was flying went out and did the half-day. This right here below us and to our right, it looks like somebody drug their finger through a giant sandbox. That's actually the Butte Fault Line. It's an active fault line between two tectonic plates pushing against each other. They're still raising the north rim about the width of a sheet of paper every year. We'll still get some earthquakes along this area. Most of them are too small to feel. They just register really lightly on the Richter scale. Off here about our 1 o'clock, you can see Malcosa Crest, or we call it Fish Rock. Looks just like a fish. Got its little back and its fins sticking up in the back. A lot of pilots think it looks a lot more like a helicopter with no blades on it.
How?
You saying, Grandma? Okay.
This big mesa here is the Nankoweap Mesa. And then just in front of us is the Boundary Ridge. You can see it coming down from left to right. That's actually the very beginning of the Grand Canyon. So where that river turns off to the left, it changes from the Grand Canyon to Marble Canyon. That goes up towards Utah and Lake Powell. You're also going to get a pretty view of some reflections in the water here of the cliffs. This point that's sticking out here, that's Marion Point. It's named after a lady who designed most of the trail systems in the canyon, most of the hiking trails. Up here in front of us is Point Imperial. That is the highest point in the highest outlook on the Grand Canyon. So people go over there and look off at the rim. Over at Mount Hayden, which is just to our left, it's that big rock that almost looks like it's giving us a thumbs up.
This is the north rim?
This is the north rim. There, you can see there's still a little bit of snow on it. They're a lot higher than we are on the south rim. We're going to be going up and over the top of the north rim here in a second.
We're going to be going inside the Grand Canyon?
We're in it. We're living it.
Oh, okay, okay.
We're not going to land in the canyon. This is as close as we get.
I know we're not going to land in the canyon. What I meant was lower.
No, we stay about the same height the whole time.
Okay.
Up in front of us is one of the better named rocks in the canyon. It's called the Battleship. When we get up closer, you can see that there's some little lines on the bottom that make it look like there's water level coming up. And then there's a big main control area in the middle, and then a gun turret on the left. It almost looks like they did it on purpose. This is a really good view of the Battleship here. It doesn't look too big, but it's about 500 feet tall. And this is the part where we're going to climb up and go over the north rim. We're going to go to about 9,000 feet.
How much taller is the north rim from the south rim?
Where we are in the south rim is 6,700 feet, and here it's 8,300. And Point Imperial is 8,800. So it's quite a bit higher, about 2,000 feet. To our left here, you're going to see the road, and there's a little staircase that comes down, so you can come over here to the rim, take some pictures. There's the staircase. People like to wave at us as we go by usually. Just right there off the road. This big burn patch we can see pretty much all around us. This was a wildfire that happened back in 2001. It started off as a controlled burn the Forest Service was doing to burn off some undergrowth and just some logs on the ground. What happened was the wind switched on them, and it ended up burning about 14,000 acres. Yeah, we thought we might take their matches away after that one. But they do those controlled burns just because it's the natural life of the forest. If you don't let it burn, then the whole thing will burn down like Yellowstone did back a little while ago.
We get trees coming back?
Huh? Oh, they are, yeah. In the summer, the little aspens have came in. They just don't have their leaves yet, so it's a little greener. The pine trees are going to take a little bit longer. They say it's about 100 years for the forest to complete the full cycle through.
Do they plant seedlings?
I don't think so. I watched a movie about that Yellowstone fire, and when the pine trees burn, it actually opens up the seeds and they drop them on the ground, and they get buried under a bunch of stuff before they start to get too hot. It's crazy how the forest has kind of just evolved to burn and then regrow itself. This clear area up in front of us, this used to be an old homestead ranch. The guy ended up running out of money, but he had cattle and buffalo. And the investors came in and took all his cattle, but they left his buffalo here. And sometimes we'll still see him wandering around. I haven't seen him yet today. I think it's a little cold and they retreated away to somewhere warmer. But we'll keep our eye open for him. This part we're going to be dropping into here is the Dragon's Corridor. It's the second widest point in the canyon. It's about 14 miles from rim to rim. The reason it's called the Dragon's Corridor is the dragon is on the right. You can see his big head over there is that big dome. And then coming back, those bumps are his back, and then his tail is sticking out at the end. And as we get closer to it, we'll be able to see his legs sticking out too. So from here you can kind of see the dragon's little feet sticking out. Takes a little bit of imagination to see the dragon. You got it? Oh. Over here in the Dragon's Corridor is a good spot to see some good rock layers. Up at the top, below the trees, we have the Kaibab layer. And then this tan layer just right next to us is called Coconino Sandstone. That is actually an ancient desert that fossilized into these fossilized sand dunes. You can still kind of see the shape of the sand dunes. And they're estimated to be about 17 million years old. Then down here to our left, you can see the red rocks. That's your red limestone. The reason it's so red is because it's got some iron in it and it gives it that rusty color. Here's the dragon's leg. There's his head. And his ear coming down to the left. We'll see his snout once we get past his ear. Kind of got this skinny part for a neck. Off to our left here, this is called the Shiva Temple. And to our right, those two peaks that almost look like they're twins, that is Mencius and Confucius. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Confucius. He's a Chinese philosopher, Confucius says. And Mencius was his student. It was named by the early Spanish explorers. They were just coming through here naming things after stuff they've heard of so they could make their way back. This one just barely in front of us, that is the Tower of Ra. It's named after the Egyptian sun god. When we get up closer, you'll be able to see the middle looks like the sun. And then it's got the arms coming out that kind of look like sunbeams. Down and to our right, there's that black layer of rock. That's called the Vishnu Schist. It's the third oldest exposed rock layer on the Earth. They estimate it to be close to 1.8 to 2 billion years old. There's a lot of granite in it, so it's really slowed down the erosion process from the river. They say about 6 inches in the last 1,000 years. So the canyon is still growing, just pretty slowly. From here, just to get a reference on the size of the canyon, if you look all the way as far as you can see to the left, as far as you can see to the right, it's about 50 miles. The canyon is 277 miles, so that's about 1/5 of the canyon that we got to see today. This part of the river narrows up a little bit. You can see this is where they're going to get a lot of their stage 4, stage 5 rapids. Starts moving pretty quick through this area. This up in front of us is the South Rim. This road we're above right now, this is the boundary road. The national park is going to be on the left. The national forest is going to be on the right side of the road. Off to our right, you can see those big mountain peaks. Those are the San Francisco peaks. They border Flagstaff, Arizona. The one on the left, the biggest one, is Mount Humphreys, and it's the tallest point in Arizona at just over 12,000 feet. Just in front of us, there's a set of railroad tracks. That is the Grand Canyon Railroad.